Hello, so the volume may not be ideal. If you have headphones, I would recommend using them in order to hear this video. And I apologize for that. I know it isn't that convenient, but I'll just try and speak clearly and loudly so that you can hear the audio. I want to discuss a case that I've read as reported by Buzzfeed. Now, I'll say from the outset, I'm not a fan of Buzzfeed. I think they've got a very sensational way of reporting, and I think they've got a very, very left wing bias. Um, so I don't agree with the way the article is written, but it is very revealing. And basically, I mean, the wording is ridiculous. The headline is this singer asked brown girls to come to the front and some white people got mad. So automatically that headline puts the blame on the white people, like making it look like they're exaggerating. So this is what happened. This occurred at the Halifax, let me just get the title correct, the Halifax Pop Explosion Music Festival in Nova Scotia, Canada. Halifax, Nova Scotia, is that right? Yeah. Anyway, it occurred on October the 19th. Now, this singer, Lida Pimienta, during the performance actually asked brown girls to come to the forward to the stage. So she is actively racially segregating her audience, whatever way you put it. Um, and according to HPE Vice Chair Georgie Dudka, several white audience members and a volunteer for the festival reacted negatively, surprise, surprise, to the suggestion, and the volunteer was subsequently kicked out of the show by Pimiento. Well, firstly, it wasn't a suggestion. According to witnesses, she refused to continue until her request had been fulfilled and these brown girls moved forward and the presumably white members of the audience moved to the back. Apparently, there's mixed reports going on around about this, but apparently the volunteer, well, there was a photographer who had to be there to do the job because they couldn't have photographed it in the same way from the back of the venue. Now, what I find staggering is instead of condemning the racist behavior of the singer, and that's what it is, Georgie Dudka said, "We will not accept this behavior, and neither should you," Dudka wrote in a Facebook post on behalf of the festival. "Be responsible for your friends, talk to them, and support them as they move towards unpacking their racism." This stinks. This stinks of identity politics double standards. Consider this. Consider had you had a white singer racially segregating the crowd and saying, okay, I want the white people to come forward, so I'd like the black and brown people to go to the back. It would be it would be intolerable. I mean, imagine this is the Rosa Parks of 2017. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I cannot understand why it is that anti-white racism gets a free pass. Anyway, there's been a huge backlash. Looking at her Facebook page, the comments are 99% negative, like shame on you, racist, etc., etc. People are clearly angry about this. And I think they're angry not just about the act of segregation, but the fact that it is blatant double standards. And this is what galls me. A Halifax Music Festival has apologized for the overt racism of a white festival volunteer who refused to move when singer Lido Pimiento invited brown girls to the front. Surely the racism is from this singer. How Georgie Dudka has the audacity to smear their volunteer as racist is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. Um, and it's one of two things. Either they ideologically agree with this racist singer, or they're cards and they're not taking responsibility for her actions and they're just pandering to the worst sort of identity politics. Bottom line is this is divisive. The white audience members paid for the same ticket. They paid for the same ticket. Why the hell should they be treated as second class? I mean, what rationale would this singer have for segregating her audience other than to cause racial tensions? I think it's disgusting. But what I find lamentable is the approach that the organisers have taken. If they had been responsible, if they were really against racism, they would be banning her from performing at their event. Instead, they have chosen to endorse her racism. I think it's staggering. I don't blame people at all for being pissed off about this. And there isn't just white people that are angry. I've seen people saying that they're black and they are from other races, and they can see that this is wrong. It's divisive. It's nonsense. And you could be damn sure if this was a white singer doing that, it wouldn't be tolerated. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I just think it's, and the way BuzzFeed reports it is predictably nonsense. You know, they put the onus again on white people. Why shouldn't white people be annoyed about this? If you're told, oh, you have to go to the back, or you need to make way for other people on purely racial grounds, of course you're going to feel resentful when you've paid for the same ticket. It's just wrong. And if her career falls flat, I have zero sympathy, because all she is doing is stirring up the most toxic, divisive nonsense. And I think it's the double standards that work people up most of all. Um, I would share this article. I'm not sure if I want to promote BuzzFeed because they're clearly siding with the organizers. But yeah, if you just Google Lida Pimienta, I've not heard of her before, but she looks a bit like Bjork. Seems to have a sort of quirky style, but yeah, she's a racist. She's segregating her audience. That is racism. Lads. Just imagine if a white singer done that. Just imagine it. So let's say no to double standards. Let's say no to this divisive racial divisions. Let's just, if you're genuinely against racism, you should oppose this. Period. There's no caveat. There's no justification. She's dividing people. The organisers have thrown their volunteer under the bus. They're paying cards and they're pandering to her racism. And the worst part about it is they are actually trying to accuse the critics of racism. Lamentable.